And by the way, you should even be thankful for the trial that's got you worried. Because if you can get it fixed, resolved, and clarified, then you may never have to deal with that issue again. And so if you appreciate the learning process that's supposed to go along with that situation and do what you can to benefit in terms of growth out of the situation, so you should be thankful. If then, right? If you will do these things, then. Now, he didn't put the if in there or the then, but I'm telling you that's what it's saying here, right? If you do these things, then the peace of Elohim, which surpasses all understanding. Why does it say which surpasses all understanding? Because it's peace coming in a way that you could never have perceived. You didn't see how it could happen. You didn't see any way that it could that you could feel that peace in the situation. So it goes beyond your physical human understanding that you could have peace in the middle of the trial. See, there's verses, many places in the scripture that talk about how he's going to change their hearts or he's going to give them a new heart. He does it through this process. We'd like to think, and maybe in Christianity you were taught this, maybe you weren't, I don't know. But we'd like to think that this heart change thing happens by fiat. Fiat meaning spontaneously he just makes it happen. He just waves his magic hand and now you have a whole different heart, different personality. That's not the way he works. But these are very important concepts that we understand that because a lot of times we wonder why is as we get older, our body starts to break down, we get more sick. Well, a lot of it is because the accumulation of stress. And by the way, you get older, you don't get necessarily any less stress as things don't work as well and people in your life give you grief or you get more frustrated about things. These are all stressors. So here Shaul is saying, look, don't worry at all. But in every matter, everything, by prayer and petition and thanksgiving, bring it before. Make your petitions known. Bring it before the throne of Elohim. And then that shalom will guard your heart. I don't think most of us even remotely live in reality. We don't. We live in the delusion that we create based on the fragments of reality and then our very quick conclusion jumping to put our context on what we are receiving. So we're not actually reacting in a proper, real way to what's going on. We're reacting into our very quick, knee-jerk reaction to what's going on with limited information. And so we don't actually function in reality. We function in our very quick interpretation of the pieces of reality that we grabbed real quick and we ran with. And that's the biggest problem we have with each other. Husbands, wives, friends, parents, children, bosses, employees, every relationship you can think of, the breakdown almost always is a total misunderstanding and interpretation of reality. Both people are not looking at things the way they actually are. Anybody ever play that old telephone game? Where you have a phrase or a little couple sentence and you tell somebody, you whisper in their ear, and it goes around the whole room, and by the time it gets back to the beginning again, it doesn't sound anything like it started. Because we selectively remember and interpret and pay attention to, even in sentences and words, when people are talking, we may not catch the actual main point of what the person was trying to say. We're sensitive and listening for points that we want to pick up. Now, if you already have thought of a person as being this way or that way, you're now looking for evidence that they're this way or that way. So you're now have very sharpened ears listening for things that will give you proof. Aha, see, I knew you were that way. Because you already came to a conclusion before you even met everybody. We got people that come to Sukkot that way and Passover that way, because after all, they're going to be in this mixed group of 100, 200 people from all over the place. Well, I don't know. They're not going to like me. Listen, once you come to a conclusion, whether you were right or wrong, you're going to be right. In other words, you'll find reasons to justify and make the situation. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know what I'm saying? And then you'll go and say, see, I knew they wouldn't like me. Well, you came in and were totally unfriendly and walked around expecting everybody to not like you, so you made sure that it happened. But we have one that knows, one that truly knows and understands and sees everything. That's why he says he sees down to the kidneys or to the marrow. He's the one that actually knows exactly what's really going on. That's why when you pray, you should always pray, Abba, yet nonetheless, whatever I asked, your will be done, because I'm filtering through my totally inaccurate filter. I'm filtering through my highly inaccurate interpretation of reality. So Abba, we'll just let your will. This is what I'm putting my petitions forth, like it says here. But it says if you do it with thanksgiving, you're saying, hey, but I'm thankful that I can just give it over to you, and whatever's supposed to happen, I'm going to trust you're going to handle it. And you'll guide me to tell me what I'm supposed to do. For the rest, brothers, whatever is true, there you go. Whatever is actually true and real. What do we know that's true and real? Not much. We know that there's a creator, and that there's a Messiah, and there's the way he wants things done in life. Other than that, we have nothing that's true. What do we know? Hopefully you know that Torah is true, Yeshua is true. What does he say? I am the way, the truth, and life. Right? I am true. I am what is true. So God is true, Elohim is true, Yeshua is true, the Torah is true. Everything else we're guessing as best we can. And by the way, he says if there's any uprightness, you have to look for it. He didn't say only if there's all uprightness and it's overflowing with it. He says if there's any uprightness and if there's any praise, think on these things. Can you do that when you interact with each other, please? Can you look for that instead of looking like, there he goes again. There she goes again. See, this is why I'm always frustrated with you. This is why. How about looking for the uprightness? Something that you can praise? By the way, they're doing it already. Everybody is watching you, especially all your friends and family that don't understand what you're doing. They may not be watching you so they can practice it, but they're watching to see what it looks like. So you claim that you're blah, blah, blah. And you keep this and you keep that and you think you're so self-righteous, blah, blah. I'm going to watch you, and trust me, you do anything hypocritical, it's going to be thrown in your face faster than a New York minute. I can tell you that. I'm a New Yorker. By the way, that's 42 seconds, in case you were wondering. All right? Somebody wanted to know. Okay? But just so you understand, they're watching you. But then if you want to come into leadership, they're supposed to be watching you. This journey is taking you to a place where you're supposed to be a role model. Not the Bible answer man or the Torah expert terrorist or whatever, beating people in the head with the scriptures. No, you're supposed to be the role model. Show people what it looks like being lived. If you get your heart wrapped around that every day you wake up going, today I'm going to be a role model. And every day, just wake up. Today is, again, this is my job, is to be a role model. Everybody that encounters me needs to see what this looks like and then say, I want what you have. Now, Paul never says, notice here and in other places, he'll talk about imitating. And he talked about that in previous verses we read as well, this idea of imitate me as I imitate Yeshua, that kind of thing. Notice he never says, the Ruach will do it all for you. Just lean into the Ruach. And he's always talking about leadership and people actually being in leadership and understanding the role as a leader, understanding your responsibility of that. If I lead you wrong, it's on me because you're supposed to be imitating me. Paul tells him right there up front, very clear, do what you see me doing, what you heard me do, what you watched me do, how I did it, when I did it, why I did it, what you received, heard, saw. He says, do these things. And if you do them, the Elohim of peace shall be with you. But if you're always going to be in that whining, complaining, wanting, it's an insatiable desire. That insatiability, giving you stuff won't fix that. Contentment fixes that. And then he can give you more, knowing that if I give you more, you'll be content in that. And then if I give you more, you'll be content in that. Because you'll be like Paul, you'll be able to say that I've learned, no matter what state I'm in, to be content. And that contentment comes from what? Having shalom guarding your heart and your mind. But when you're not content, it's because there's no peace. You have no peace. I think all of us, when it comes down to it, wants peace in our lives. We want the turmoil and the noise and all the confusion and all of the craziness to just stop and bring in shalom, peace. He says, in every situation I'm in, I've learned that I can be satisfied if I have nothing. I can be satisfied with a lot. I can be hungry with nothing. I can be hungry with a lot. And it's good to be hungry, but hungry for the right things. It's good to be satisfied and filled, but to be filled with the right things. Because we should be hungering and thirsting for his righteousness, as it says in some of the verses in the Psalms, right? I hunger and thirst for your righteousness. It says, I have strength to do all these things because I know that if I'm doing it through this whole process, starting out without worrying in verse 6, and going forward with thankfulness and petitioning him, and then allowing the peace to guard my heart and my mind, and then to focus on what's true, noble, righteous, clean, lovely, and with good report, with uprightness and praise, I know that with all of these things, and that if I have somebody that I'm watching and receiving and learning from and having as a mentor, as a discipler, that the peace of Elohim shall come to me, and that I can do all things because Messiah will come and empower me in these things.